Welcome you all. I welcome you all to my concept video presentation. My name is Pranav Teja. I'm going to present you on the subject English. So let us move forward. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is N Pranav Teja. I'm from branch CSC AIML. Topic for today's presentation is listening, our most used communication skill. Listening is our most used communication skill, and yeah, this is a introduction page, and the same as the previous page. I'm here to give presentation on the topic listening, our most used communication skill. Listening, our most used communication skill. See, in our day-to-day life, every moment of our life, listening skill is most important among all the communication skills that we have, like writing skills, reading skills, and talking skills. From all these, the listening skills are the most important, because without listening we can't do anything, because that is how we perceive through listening. There are different types of listening as well. So in this video we are going to discuss on the various types of listeners, and how they how they listen, and what are their qualities. And at last we'll be discussing on how to improve our listening skills. What are the tips and tricks we have to follow in order to make the most benefit out of whatever someone or something is saying, and how can we improve our listening skills. See, there are six key active listening skills. These are the six key active listening skills, and we need to take a note of these six key active listening skills. First one is to pay attention. See, attention is the most important in our life, because without attention we can't able to know what that is actually. And the second one is withhold judgment. See, normally people judge so quickly, and that is the wrong thing that the people are doing, that we are doing. So we should stop judging what other people are saying, and with a judgment we conclude the point uh, so quickly, and we go by our opinion. But that doesn't mean we are correct. Our opinions are maybe wrong. What other people are saying is not able to be perceived by us properly, then we judge them. So that is that shows our inefficiency, or that shows our stupidity on our side. So we need to stop judging others and try to listen act to what they are saying actually, without our preconceived uh, judgment. And the third one is to reflect. See, what people say, to according to that we have to reflect. Not just we have to reflect it, not by our likings. We should we should reflect the way it requires, not our way. That's a key point to be noted, and the people are doing it today. Nowadays, are people are doing it everywhere. Just don't reflect properly. Point is to reflect according to the situation. And the fourth is clarify. Clarification to we need to be clarified to get really to understand what they are actually saying, and we need to be clarified. And the fifth point is to summarize. We have to take notes and the important points of what we are listening to, and to remember those for the future days, for being able to remember for a long time. We need to take notes, and we need to summarize the points that we listen. Sixth one is share. Whatever we are listening to, we need to share that. We need to share what we listen to, because if we keep in ourselves what we are listening, then what is the point of all the stuff? We need to share, and we need to apply on whatever we listen. We have um, to take action of on or need to use whatever we listen to. Listening is the communication skill most of us use most frequently. Various studies stress the importance of listening as a communication skill. A typical study points out that many of us spend 70 to 80% of our time in some forms of communication. Of that time, we spend about 9% writing, 16% reading, 30% speaking, and 45% listening. Studies also confirm that most of us are poor and inefficient listeners. Why? Several reasons are likely. Listening training unavailable. Even though listening is the communication skill we use most frequently, it is also the skill in which we have had the least training. From personal experience, we know we have had much more formal training in other major communication skills: writing, reading, speaking. In fact, very few persons have had any extended formal training in listening. The same is true for informal training. It's not difficult to find workshops and conferences that provide opportunities to improve our writing and speaking skills, but it is difficult to find similar training programs to sharpen listening skills. The picture over here demonstrates hilariously the mispronunciation people here. Here one person is saying, pronouncing it other one way, and here one person is understanding it another way. Thought speed greater than speaking speed. Another reason for poor listening skills is that you and I can think faster than someone else can speak. Most of us speak at a rate of about 125 words per minute. However, we have the mental capacity to understand someone speaking at 400 words per minute if that were possible. This difference between speaking speed and thought speed means that when we listen to the average speaker, we are using only 25% of our mental capacity. We still have 75% to do something else with, so our minds will wander. This means we need to make a real effort to listen carefully and concentrate more of our mental capacity on the listening act. If we don't concentrate, we soon find that our minds have turned to other ideas. We are inefficient listeners. Numerous tests confirm that we are inefficient listeners. Tests have shown that immediately after listening to a 10-minute oral presentation, the average listener had heard, understood, and retained 50% of what was said. Within 48 hours, that drop off another 50% to a final level of 25% efficiency. In other words, We often comprehend and retain only one-fourth of what we hear. We all want to be more than 25% efficient. It's not difficult to see the many problems inefficient listeners can create for themselves and others. 150 cm 150 poor listening causes us both personal and professional problems. Listening skills suffer with age. Other studies indicate that our listening skills suffer as we get older. Dr. Ralph G. Nichols, longtime professor of rhetoric at the University of Minnesota, now retired, says in his book, Are You Listening? That if we define the good listeners as one giving full attention to the speaker, first grade children are the best listeners of all. Nichols describes an experiment conducted with the cooperation of Minneapolis teachers from first grade through high school. Each teacher involved was asked to interrupt class and ask pupils suddenly, what were you thinking about? Or what was I talking about? The results were discouraging but informative. The answer of first and second grades showed that more than 90% were listening. Percentages dropped in higher grades. In junior high school, only 44% were listening. In high school, the average dropped to 28%. Listening is hard work. Another likely reason for inefficient listening is that it's hard work to listen intently. Have you been forced to listen intently for an extended period of time? Try to remember your feelings. Your archive version were probably both physically and mentally tired after such a period of concentration. 10 words listening habits. Nichols has described in speeches and articles the 10 worst listening habits of American people. We say that listening training is largely eliminating bad habits and replacing them with a good listening habits and skills. Here are the 10 bad listening habits. You will recognize some that you have and can in turn make an effort to correct them. Call subject matter uninteresting. You go to a meeting, the chairman announces the topic, or you see it on the program and say to yourself, gee, how dull can it get anyhow? You'd think they could get a decent speaker on a decent subject. So you have convinced yourself the topic is uninteresting and you turn to the many other thoughts and concepts you have stored in your mind for just such an occasion. You start using that unoccupied 70%, 75% of your mental capacity. A good listener, on the other hand, might start at the same point but arrives at a different conclusion. The good listener says, Gee, that sounds like a dull subject and I don't see how it could help me in my work. But I'm here, so I guess I'll pay attention and see what the speaker has to say. Maybe there will be something I can use. See, this is how good listener mindset is. Criticize the second one is criticize the delivery or appearance of the speaker. Many of us do this on a regular basis. We tend to criticize mentally the speaker for not speaking distinctly, for talking too softly, for reading, for not looking the audience in the eye. We often do the same thing with the speaker's appearance. If speakers aren't dressed as we think they should be, we probably tend to not to listen closely, or we may immediately classify the speaker as a liberal or conservative, a hippie or a square. But if we concentrate on what the speaker is saying, we may begin to get the message and we may even get interested. Remember, from the listener's viewpoint, the message is more important than the form in which it is delivered. Third one is become too stimulated. We may hear a speaker say something with which we disagree and we get so concerned that our train of thoughts causes us to spend more time developing counter arguments so that we no longer listen to the speaker's additional comments. We are busy formulating questions in our mind to ask the speaker, or we may be thinking of the arguments that can be used to rebut the speaker. In cases like this, our listening efficiency drops to near zero because of overstimulation. So hear the speaker out before you judge him or her. Fourth one is listen only for facts. Too many of us listen for facts, and while we may recall some isolated facts, we miss the primary thrust or idea the speaker is trying to make. Be sure that your concern for facts doesn't prevent you from hearing the speaker's primary point. Fifth one is try to outline everything that is being said. Many speakers are so unorganized that their comments really can't be outlined in any logical manner. It's better to listen in such a case for the main point. A good listener is a flexible listener who has many systems of taking notes and selects the best one to fit a speaker. Sixth one is fake attention. This is probably one of the most common bad listening habits. If you are speaking to a group and suddenly you become aware that most of your audience is sitting with chin in hands staring at you, that is a good signal that attention is being faked. Once again, I will repeat the point. If you're speaking to a group and suddenly you become aware that most of your audience is sitting with chin in hand staring at you, that is a good signal that attention is being faked. Their eyes are on you, but their minds are miles away. We probably have developed our own faking skills to a high point. Let's recognize what we are doing and eliminate faking as a poor listening habit. Seventh one is tolerate or create distractions. People who whisper in an audience of listeners fall into this category. Some distractions can be corrected, closing a door, turning a radio off to improve the listening atmosphere. Avoid the difficult. We tend to listen to things that are easy to comprehend and avoid things that are more difficult. The principle of least 150 centimeter effort will operate in listening if we allow it to do so. Submit to emotional words. We are all aware of the emotional impacts of some words. Democrat and Republican are emotional words for some people. So are Northern and Southern for others. There are hundreds of examples. Don't jet emotional words get in the way of hearing what speaker is really saying. Waste thought power. Nichols' tenth bad listening habit is the one he feels is most important. It is wasting the differential between thought speed and the speed at which most people speak. So these are the 10 bad listening habits. Hope you have understood what I said. Uh, so with this, let's end this presentation. Let's conclude. What we have discussed here in this presentation are the 10 bad listening habits. Hope you have understood what I read it, what I presented. So let's come to a conclusion. So here I am going to be discussing on 3 ways to improve listening skills. Nichols says there are 3 things you can do to help yourself stop wasting thought power and become a better listener. One is to anticipate the speaker's next point. If you anticipate correctly, learning has been reinforced. If you anticipate incorrectly, you wonder why. And one is to anticipate the speaker's next point. If you anticipate correctly, learning has been reinforced. If you anticipate incorrectly, you wonder why, and this too helps to increase attention. Another is to identify the supporting elements a speaker uses in building points. By and large, we use only 3 ways to build points. We explain the point, we get emotional and harangue you the point, or we illustrate the point with a factual illustration. A sophisticated listener knows this. He or she spends a little of the differential between thought speed and speaking speed to identify what is being used as point supporting material. This becomes highly profitable in terms of listening efficiency. A third way to improve yourself as a listener is to make mental summaries periodically as you listen. A good listener takes advantage of short pauses to summarize mentally what has been said. These periodic listening summaries are tremendous in reinforcement of learning. In summary, most of us are poor listeners for a variety of reasons. We have had little training and few training opportunities exist. We think faster than others speak. Listening skill suffers as we get old. Listening is harder. Oh, thank you. We are going to be concluding this presentation. Hope you have enjoyed my presentation. Thank you for spending time on my concept video presentation. Hope you understood what are the listening skills and what are the importance of listening skills. So let's conclude. See you. Bye.